Good morning and welcome to Coffee Time with Kauffman, the comfortable place to talk about women's leadership. Today, we are talking about turning dreams into goals. It is still early enough in the new year, but before I get into that, my name is Maria Kauffman and I'm a life coach. And today's coffee it's actually a repeat. I must have enjoyed it so much the first time that I felt the need to revisit it before I got through all of the different dark roasts that I have right now on my carousel. It is a dark roast from Guatemala. It's called Dulce Leonarda from the Hue Hue Tango location. So happy New Year to you. Still, I'm savoring the new year beginning as long as I can. And today we are turning dreams into goals. I want to first talk about the whole idea about turning a dream into a goal. I teach 5 natural steps to advancement, and the very first natural step is the dream phase. We are naturally going to dream about life, and be inspired about certain things that we run into. So dreaming is a very natural phenomenon. I'm sure no one will challenge that. But as a life coach and someone who talks about women's leadership, this is the most powerful exercise I do for myself and with my clients. So I want to talk about a little bit why it's so important. So if we're talking about empowerment, it's important to spend time dreaming and creating goals for ourselves. I say that very, very nice and slowly and very, very specifically because it's very easy to fall into the trap of following into maybe somebody else's idea of what our life should be like. If we are working for a corporation or some type of business and we are basically following somebody else's dream or helping someone else fulfill their dream, it starts to get a little blurry. So where are the lines? And why is it so important to have turn our dreams into our goals? When we talk about authenticity and empowerment, it is absolutely crucial, I will say, to have at least one intangible goal for yourself, absolutely for yourself. I also encourage you to have up to 3 to 5 goals, and some of those goals will be entangled or may include people other than yourself, right? And hopefully, I have an intangible goal to have a loving relationship with my daughter. That is one of my number 1 top intangible goals. So as I get into this, let me just talk a little bit about what I believe in intangible goals. It is a conversation that I love to have with people. Typically, everyone at this point that I talk to seems to be very comfortable and knowledgeable in SMART goals. So I am going to share my screen with you. Here we go. So here's a little couple slides just to kind of get you into the idea of the difference between a SMART goal and what I call an unstoppable goal. So a SMART goal offers a practical and proven path to achievement, and it's typically tangible. By definition, I'm sure you're familiar, SMART goals. We'll get into those in just a little second. Just to touch on unstoppable goals. Unstoppable goals offer unlimited motivation that creates meaning and purpose, and they are typically intangible. So a SMART goal, as many people know, once again, is specific. It is measurable. It's achievable. It's relevant and time-oriented. And an example certainly of a SMART goal is I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 3 months. It's measurable. It's very, very specific. It's obviously time oriented. The idea is, is it possible for me to lose 10 pounds in 3 months? That's pretty a decent amount of time to lose a relatively decent amount of weight. It's in the health and wellness industry. I'm sure that they would probably concur that 10 pounds in 3 months is probably pretty achievable. Is it relevant? Do I need, if I'm 10 pounds overweight, maybe that would give indication as to whether it's relevant or not. So that's just one example of a SMART goal. When I talk about intangible goals, or what I like to call unstoppable goals, I like to start with just a title. It doesn't have to be complicated, certainly. It can be up 2 to 3 words max. And a title could be, once again, like I said, having a loving relationship with your family. Maybe it's a wildly successful career. Maybe it's a luxurious lifestyle. And I also want to challenge you into thinking about people that have inspired you. And if you do enough research, you can find out that they were driven by an unstoppable goal. If you look at sports, Olympians, going to the Olympics, at a very early age can be a very, very motivating and unstoppable goal for a little person, right? Or a young person. Even in the movie industry, I think about people who just want to become famous, be a wildly successful actress or actor or whatever you want to be. A lot of those really inspiring people, when we see them in their success, and then we come to find out their life story, a lot of times it was driven by what I would call as an unstoppable goal. So I certainly wanted to share that with you. One more step before we go is, how do you really fill in that intangible piece, that unstoppable, highly motivated? This is going to get you through the thick and the thin when times are really tough and you want to bail on that goal. How does that motivation keep you so driven to really, really not only attain the success that you're after, but also leave room for something even better? And these are a few questions that you can ask. So what is it exactly? And for you or anyone, I encourage to take the time, a good hour, to write it all out. What does a loving relationship with your daughter look like? For me, it's going to entail get-togethers, maybe phone calls every Sunday, or visits, to college. Maybe it's vacations once a year. Whatever that looks like for you, it's going to be different for everyone, but take the time to start to paint a picture of what it could be like or what it looks like. What does it feel like? What kind of, are you maybe having a lot of laughs? Do you like to have fun? Is it more serious? Is it more peaceful? A lot of times, I get a lot of loving interaction whenever I have just quality time. My daughter and I are sitting on a couch separately, maybe reading 2 different books, but we're in the same space. We're in a comfortable environment and we're just kind of hanging out together. It doesn't always have to be, one way or another way. I don't even want to put labels on it, but feel free to make it very, very personal for you and start to paint that picture. That is the exercise of turning a dream into a goal. Especially powerful when you start to put clear words to it and write it down on paper, if you will, or in a digital form. One of the most powerful questions at the end of your 1 hour and getting your dream into a goal form in written form or of some nature is to ask, what is the benefit to the world? Right? So the happier I am, the happier my daughter is, the more time, or I won't even say the more time. Sometimes it's just having super quality time. If you don't have the time to have a lot of time, then the time that you have together, you may want that to be of great quality. And what's the benefit to the world? So it certainly makes me a happier person to be happy. So having that time is something then that after I spend a little bit of time with my daughter, I can take that happiness and be just a happier person everywhere I go in life. So that is a little bit of inspiration for, hopefully it's inspiration for you. The other piece I can't speak enough on is the idea to make sure you at least have at least one unstoppable goal for yourself. What I find is when you're very clear about at least one intangible goal for yourself, a few things happen, right? So every day I wake up, and this is why it's partly natural as well. I'm a big journaler, so I do like to journal every day, the beginning of the day. What am I going to do today? And when I ask myself, what am I going to get done today, and get into the more tangible, actionable items of what's happening now, I can do a check-in. So I can say, oh, I kind of remember, and there is some part of you when you get really connected with your unstoppable goals, there's a part of you that wants to make it come true. If you want to be an Olympian, at the age of 6 years old, a lot of times you hear that, these athletes at a very early age are aiming towards something far off in the future. And every day, to some extent, they're getting up and they're kind of understanding, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go, or something even better, something bigger. I can't even imagine it right now, but I know that that's the direction I want to go. So whenever I wake up today, what are the SMART goals to get me aligned with making that dream come true? Right? So on some extent, it does happen naturally. It puts a lot of activity into place, maybe on a daily scale, maybe in the moment, right? When you're faced with a decision and you have to decide, oh, do I spend time doing this? Do I make the decision that's going to take me uh, to a time commitment in this direction? Or do I kind of remember, I need to stay committed, and I remember this commitment, as those boundaries and those interactions in life are going to happen and they're going to come up. It's the difference between getting taken away from your goal and being aligned with it. It may help with those boundary areas when people do ask you and say, hey, do you want to go here? And you can say, I would love to, absolutely would love to, definitely want to, but, I have a commitment, and, my time right now or in this space or in this way needs to be committed in this direction, because I have already made that commitment in this direction. Apologies. Sorry, I can't join. Sorry, I can't be a part of that. So it does inspire a lot of boundary negotiations along the way, but it does also help you with your ultimate happiness. So what I also like to think about is a couple of things, is just the relevance of time, right? So if you're shooting for this unstoppable goal that's way in the future and you're making daily decisions hoping to get there, and also trying to fit in all these other pieces of life. How do I have this great loving relationship with my family or, with my friends? and be a great employee and have this career that I want and be a successful whatever or whoever you are. For me, it was engineering, right? So some of the challenges that I would run into as an engineer and to do the thing that I loved in my career, which was part of my unstoppable goal, was a lot of my career activity required travel, which took me away from my family. So those are the boundaries and some of the issues that you're naturally going to come up with against. And you need to navigate those and negotiate those. And to some extent, there were many times, and I'll say many years, I spent a lot of time. I have traveled the world doing what I love to do because of the career that I was in. And it was definitely challenging at times when I had to be sometimes, if you there a company is flying you halfway around the globe to do a job, you're not going to come home on the weekend. So I have been gone for weeks at a time and had to hold space and commitments to how can I deliver on this career that I want, and how can I also at the same time have this loving family relationship that is going to go through certain stressors and strains during that time. And what I find is that it inspires creativity. Absolutely. Because the question, and once again, this is partly why it is a natural step in advancement, is you get into these situations and it challenges you to ask, how can I have both? How can I have this amazing career and have a very loving relationship, especially whenever it appears that at least the physical or the geographical location is going to pull me into polar opposites. And it is magical what can happen when you are put into situations to force that opportunity for creativity. It definitely has been challenging at times. I will not sugarcoat it. There were times of tears and stress and strain and poor decisions as well. So part of that is the learning and the experience behind all of that is how can I, be so super sad about leaving my family to go travel to do the thing that I love is a very, very interesting situation to be put into and to be tested through. But it is once again magical when you have those opportunities. And it certainly makes the reunion and the connections actually stronger. So I inspire you to think about all those things in those ways. So I do want to do a quick review here. So where have we been? I just want to make sure that I have talked a bit about how to turn dreams into goals. That is the topic for today. So one of the very first things is you need to have dream time. If we're hectic and busy, and we're so busy and hectic that we can't afford ourselves a moment or a few moments or a good hour, maybe once in a very long time. I'll say once in a quarter. This is partly why I love to do this exercise in the beginning of a year, because happiness actually has a shelf life. It apparently has been tested and proven and researched. And generally speaking, I believe the way it goes is that happiness has about a 3 to 6 month shelf life. And it's probably no surprise then that even businesses do quarterly goals. So think about that. So if businesses are re-inspiring themselves every quarter, there's probably a little bit of reason behind it. It's a widely accepted practice. And what we find is through the research is that the goal that you're going toward tends to once again have a shelf life. the immediate goal, you can kind of hold space for that, but it kind of loses its motivation, especially the SMART goals. So that's why I like to combine SMART and unstoppable goals, because the unstoppable goals will keep you motivated longer. They have a lot of drive, but they also need to work in, I'll say, coordination or combination with the SMART goals, right? So quarterly goals in business are typically SMART related. And one of the reasons why they want to do it every quarter is to keep that happiness and that those more tangible, because they're shorter motivated. They have a shorter life. We want to keep those fresh. So what I like to do with my clients and as a coach and a woman's leadership coach is to inspire you to take another visit about every quarter on that unstoppable goal, and to match that with, then I think I'm kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself just to show you the notes. First of all, you need the dream time. Let's just review quickly. So dream time, you need time to think about your dreams and turn them into goals. The most important one, I believe, is to have an intangible goal. I call that an unstoppable goal. If you have a vision board, I think I saw recently that it was National Vision Board Day. If you have a vision board, that is an example of an intangible goal and an unstoppable goal. So give yourself credit for that, but make sure you have at least one, and it could be a 2 to 3 word title is all you need. To go deeper and to go take that a little bit further, take a whole hour and complete your description of an intangible goal. And what that will do for you is you can revisit it every quarter, but most likely when you do an intangible goal really well and you're really in tune with who you are and what you want to do in life, that quarterly review, after you spent the initial time really detailing it out, that quarterly review will be very, very quick but powerful. And then the last piece is when you have an intangible goal and you can wake up every day and create SMART goals that effectively keep you on pace for achieving those unstoppable goals. You can do a check-in. It's just a quick check-in. Does this line up with where I want to go? Is this something maybe that is pulling me off track? And I encourage you to be tested, to be pulled off track. It's a great place to go. Sometimes that's the best way for you to know and understand, am I headed in the right direction? Is this making me happier, or is this taking me away from who I think I really am and where I really want to go? I will say this, is that one of the most important things that we can do in that space when we're pushed and pulled in different directions and our boss wants us to have this type of goal and I want to go this place or this way, just have some patience with it and allow it to inspire that creativity and allow yourself to go off track. Because sometimes it's in the going off track and getting away from what you truly want in life and reflecting on how that makes you feel and what happens in that space is one of the most powerful things to ultimately still get you back on track toward the goal that you want to deliver and you want to achieve in life. So that is a little bit about turning dreams into goals. Hopefully you've got some time, and hopefully over the holidays, you've already spent some time thinking about where you want to go this year. Highly encourage you to take the opportunity, if you haven't already. Love to talk about turning dreams into goals. So in closing, I have a very, very fitting inspirational quote that actually I saw the other day from a friend of mine, and it's a perfect fit for our situation right now. And it goes something like this. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. by Anais Nin. One of my favorite quotes, especially when you are thinking about that big, bold dream and you are ready now to make it come to life. It's a beautiful quote. So thank you for being a part of the conversation for inspiring women's leadership. Coffee Time with Kauffman is the comfortable place to discuss women's leadership because I am on a mission to help the world discover the truth about what women are capable of. When you are ready for your leadership mastery makeover, go to mariakaufman.com and click on Consult a Coach, where you can schedule time with me for an empowerment session. We will certainly be talking about turning dreams into goals on that session. So have a great week and enjoy your adventures and journey responsibly. Bye-bye for now and have a great Friday.